Talk to me about the inner critic and how that's related to this work.
All of our parts, right? There's a positive intention. And people experience, I don't know, get curious, whoever you are who's listening to this, like how do you experience your inner critic, right? Does it sound like a voice beating you up? Does it sound like, oh, just comparison, just like looking at other people and then that overwhelming sense of, you know, depression that results from that? Does it look like, I don't know, whatever else someone's inner critic might look like? But oftentimes, I think that our critics, oh, I just heard this recently. It was so good. That our critics are trying to help us become the ideal version of ourselves, right? And so they have a strategy to help us become that vision of who we want to be or who we think we can be. And, you know, maybe it works to beat you up, to get your taxes done. Maybe it works to, you know, to really just like look at what other people are doing on social media to like motivate you to get your stuff together. Um, but there's an impact that comes with that, right? That we don't feel good about ourselves. We don't like the way that we're talking to ourselves. We might feel shame underneath the inner critic, right? And sometimes it can be really hard to get underneath someone's inner critic. But when we can slow down and identify it as an inner critic and really just start to get curious. And this is kind of like the secret sauce of this whole thing is to really just extend curiosity to these parts of us, right? And we have parts that hate the inner critic, right? Maybe,
Yes.
right? Someone might have a part that hates it, that wants it to go away, just make it shut up, right? When we can ask those parts to give us a little bit of space so we can just get curious about the inner critic and we really get to know it and we get to know how long has it been doing this job? Where did it learn to do this job? A lot of information there. And does this inner critic know that you have self energy here too, right? A lot of the time, like dissonance and like polarization, they call it inside the system, where you have parts fighting with each other, happen because the parts don't even know that there is like this self energy within us and they don't trust it,
Hmm.
right? And so, can an inner critic like meet the self or come to trust it? I mean, that's a pretty powerful journey. And also, there's probably someone like a younger part underneath someone's inner critic, whether it's fear of failure or fear of not loss of connection. Um, if I don't beat myself up, then, my mother won't love me anymore. I don't know. Like, who knows? Some of this stuff is just seems like so irrational, but based on our own histories, it always makes sense. So, a lot of what happens with the more difficult parts, like this inner critic conversation, is like a negotiation about inviting the parts that there might be a different way to do the same job that they're doing now. Like, there might be a way to motivate me to get something done without beating myself up, right? And helping them learn to trust that, that self energy, that part of us that does want to just like live well, has motivation and has inspiration, and that some of our other parts can help, right? Like that other managers and task masters, to-do list managers, all of them can help get things done too.